This is the Rebel Call Channel. Welcome to today's show. This is a story that everybody out there should get used to because this is what the new state of the world is going to look like. Now, when we talk about drone technology, this is government technology, but most people out there don't realize that when they give us technology like this, when they say, hey, put on QVC, they got these drone things on there that you could buy. Hey, are you in Target right now? Do they have drones at Target? You start seeing this technology on the shelves at stores that you think is there to entertain you because they say, hey, we'll release this to the public and let the public get used to this type of technology. Then they won't be suspicious when we're flying around our drones to police them. They'll be so used to seeing drones, they'll be so used to the technology of drones that they won't push back the idea of the government, the police, etc., flying drones around to monitor civilians. So that's exactly what's happened. We've got used to drones. We've accepted that this technology exists. There's been no pushback whatsoever from civilians. Thus, we get to a point where people are getting spied on from drones. And in fact, not just getting spied on in their homes and on their property, they're getting spied on through their windows. This is a story out of Utah, and there's more stories like it, where we're seeing drone surveillance, looking through a couple's window, recording them, watching them, and everybody just goes, oh, well, that sounds scary. Well, what are we going to do about it? Well, get your shotgun and shoot it down, because that's the only thing you're going to be able to do in the future, especially when the government's the one flying the drones and peeping in your windows.
KSL, a Draper couple is trying to wrap their heads around what happened to them after an unwanted close encounter with a drone. They say it was peeping into their house after dark, and now they're trying to alert their neighbors.
News specialist Andrew Adams spoke to that couple and police tonight and joins us live with this exclusive story. Andrew, this is quite disturbing.
Well, it is, and they believe that someone was either using the drone to peep into their house or potentially even case houses for burglaries. Either way, they say somebody should not be pointing a camera into a living room at night, and police agree.
We just saw the view. It's like, this is it.
Even those scenic vistas are synonymous with Suncrest.
It wasn't about the view.
It didn't explain what appeared just outside their windows.
The center window, and at about, I don't know, 10 o'clock high.
It was 9 o'clock at night, and the daylight had gone away.
It was a drone hovering maybe 25 feet away from the window, just hovering.
They weren't just goofing around.
The Jostens say they watched as the drone hovered and watched them for as long as 2 minutes.
The green lights are in the front, and they were just, green lights were pointing at our window.
And then just like that, the drone moved to another set of windows next door.
And then moved down to the next house.
That's when he called the police.
Draper police came out and investigated, but couldn't find the operator.
It's definitely a little creepy.
Lieutenant Mike Elkin says something similar happened recently at a hotel in town.
With a drone flying from window to window.
While investigators haven't made any connections, they say the behavior is simply unacceptable.
That's a massive violation of people's privacy, and it's actually against the law. It falls under the Utah State Trespassing Code.
I honestly thought it was a peeping Tom.
And the other thought is, it could be somebody who's checking out houses for potential burglary sites.
The couple says whatever reason was a bad reason.
It's really not okay to be looking into people's windows.
And what they witnessed left the wrong impression.
Watching him go from house to house, that was, to me, disturbing.
Well, police say they do want to hear about these disturbing drone encounters when they happen, and to operators, they're telling them, hey, work with your neighbors, know the rules, know the laws, and definitely don't be creepy. Back to you.
Don't be creepy. This is unsettling. Interesting to see that this is happening to a neighborhood in Draper. Andrew, thank you.
So it reminds me of the scene out of They Live or out of 1984. They even show it in 1984. They have this type of technology in the movies back in the 1950s when Orson Welles' 1984 film actually came out. And everybody out there can see where this is headed. So now we're at a point where we're so desensitized to the drone technology that it's suddenly people are starting to say, wait a minute, this is a bit of a problem. This is unregulated. There's drones just running amok. And the only thing that really gets done is the FAA has you register your drone, and you could register your drone as young as 13 years old. And then you look around and you go, who has the regulation to do this over the air? Who have we given this to? Well, the prince of the power of the air, I assume, right? And then we have these other stories out there, if you haven't heard, because this really just sums it all up. Insurance companies have been using drones to fly over people's homes, to spy on them, to take away or deny coverage. And somehow this is allowed. And again, this all ties into the communist corporation that America is. Okay, this government is run by corporations. It's run by Amazon, it's run by Tesla, it's run by Target and Walmart. The corporations, that's why you see all these brands always have a united front on social issues, because they're the ones who are trying to influence behavior, influence buying, influence you into being persuaded into pride and everything else. It's a corporation. It's the American corporation. I'm sure you've heard that expression before. Take a look at this other story that I'm sure some of you have seen about how a guy was just outside and he saw a drone flying over his home, and the drone was the insurance company's drone, and they denied his coverage because they didn't like what they saw.
Homeowners insurance can be hard to get these days. Some companies are not writing any new policies. Others are dropping longtime customers.
Yeah, among them, an East Bay man who was told he lost his insurance based on photos taken by a drone over his property.
Yeah, 7 on Your Side's Michael Finney says that came, as you can imagine, as a real shock.
This is a very interesting story. You'll be thinking about your home during this. At first, this guy was told he'd lost his insurance because drone photos taken over his property showed hazards in his yard. But the company would not show him the pictures. Later, he was told there was no drone, just aerial photos. He felt it was intruding on his privacy, and with no way to get his policy reinstated.
Up here, up there, over there, over there.
Drones sometimes fly over C.J. Sven's Oakley house. He never thought much of it until now.
Apparently they have some pictures and noticed clutter.
CJ was shocked when he got this notice from his longtime home insurance carrier, CSAA.
Set up for non-renewal. They're going to be terminating our homeowner's insurance policy.
His house isn't in a fire zone, and he's never filed a single claim in 15 years. Instead, the notice said CSAA found clutter, hazardous waste, tires, and a dilapidated car in his yard. But how could they make such a claim? No one had been by to inspect the house. So CJ called the company.
They said, oh, well, no, we sent over a drone. I'm like, oh, they have a drone that they sent over my property and, I don't know, flew down into my yard.
They said, we had a drone, we've seen your house, your property, that's why we're denying you.
Correct.
He says CSAA would not let him see the drone photos or give him a chance to clear his yard.
And she mentioned, oh, well, no, at this point it's too late. We're not going to reconsider.
But CSAA later told CJ it did not use a drone. Instead, it reviewed aerial images taken by fixed plane or satellite. Still, the company would not show those images to CJ or to 7 on Your Side. We flew our own drone to show how it looks from up there.
It's not dangerous. It's not neglected. I mean, we are back here. We are using these things.
CJ also took me on a ground level tour and admits the yard is cluttered, but he's a do-it-yourself guy.
This is my first car that I got.
He's restoring his 1966 Chevy.
It's still in pretty good shape for going through teenage years. A little bit of rust, but
he installed his own solar panels and he changes his own tires each season. He says it's a lifestyle, not a hazard.
We were just found guilty and punished, and we had no idea, no warning, no opportunity to mitigate the situation.
CJ complained to the State Department of Insurance. In a reply, the company said images showed, quote, debris that resembles wood and cardboard, a gray truck with debris on the bed, a tan vehicle with debris on top.
Yeah, I kind of was offended. How dare you judge me for my stuff? I have stuff.
The company also said, while you may have had your insurance with the company for many years, paid your premiums and not filed claims, those factors are not considerations when evaluating property risk.
Sorry, we're done. Have a nice day. What do? I don't understand.
Insurance companies are increasingly using tools like aerial photography to assess the risk on your house. CSAA told us you can go online to services like Google Earth 3D, and you'll get a pretty good idea what companies may be looking at when they assess the risk of insuring your property. As for the legality of taking drone pictures over a house, well, state law only forbids that if you're specifically doing so as a sort of peeping Tom. Really? Now, if you're not doing it for that reason, have at it.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, if we didn't allow the technology in the first place, this is where it all starts. And this is what they know psychologically. Because remember, they are masters not just at manipulation, at what it takes to desensitize humans into accepting the things that they want, which is total enslavement. Human beings are accepting this enslavement because we're allowing the technology to be put in place. So they were, if we never had drones released to us where we could buy drones ourselves and then play around like children with them, like how many people do you see, grown men who, you know, and again, if you have a drone, I'm not making fun of you, but think about it, right? We have adults out there buying these toys, then flying them around and pretending that they're, oh, I'm going to film this, I'm going to film that, it's beautiful, right? And you say, oh, what's the big deal? Well, what the big deal is the allowing of this technology to exist. It's the same with artificial intelligence. It's the same with any of the technology that continues to evolve. We're at the point now where it's about to go underneath your skin. If there was a refusal of the tech, if there was people who were actually pushing back on 5G and saying, hey, if you're telling us you don't know the dangers of 5G radiation and et cetera, then we shouldn't allow you to put these towers up. If you're just going, well, we don't know the long-term effects, that's not a good enough answer. Because people are going to be getting brain tumors and cancer and all the stuff we know about radiation, then we shouldn't allow this to go up. But instead, they come out with this stuff. They allow you to play with this stuff. They allow you to demand a better phone, a faster phone. And suddenly they get what they want ultimately, which is normalization of this tech. And then suddenly, when you look out your window and you see a drone peeking through the window, looking at you, or you see drones all of a sudden, because this is what it's headed towards, right? The drones aren't just going to be there to spy on you. The drones are going to be delivering things to your cell because your home is your cell. And this is how they create this surveillance state. This is, when I talk about the artificial intelligence governance, this is what it looks like, okay? There's drones flying around, there's drones delivering packages, there's drones delivering pizza, and you still are under this illusion that you're free. You're like, oh yeah, Domino's is delivering my pie with a drone. And you become so desensitized to it, you don't even realize that you're locked in your home and imprisoned in your home with your carbon footprint. That is what they're building here. And this isn't a conspiracy. This is a fact. This is what they've openly told us, right? And when you look ahead and you see what they're really saying with the carbon footprint, et cetera, and about leaving your home and monitoring your steps and monitoring your breathing out in the open, they're telling you that you need to stay locked up. Then they're trying to make it seem like you're still free by telling you that drones are going to bring you your prescriptions and drones are going to bring you your pizza tonight. Your Uber Eats will still come and everybody will think that they're still free and they won't even realize that they're prisoners. And they'll say, well, who cares, right? I'm at home in my metaverse. I got my meta goggles on. I don't care that my smart locks are locked in. I'm locked in my home. That Big Brother is doing this stuff because I'm free. But if somebody just suddenly put bars on their windows, a light bulb might go off and they might go, wait a minute, what? It would literally take some of these people getting rolled down to their federal prison and getting locked inside the cell for them to realize that they're prisoners. This is what they've built by normalizing the technology around us, getting us so used to the technology, getting people to want the technology. And then when they hear people like me, because there's even people out here there who are listening to this channel right now who probably own drones. And they're probably going, oh, he's being over the top. And I'm not making fun of you for owning a drone. I'm telling everybody out there the way that it is. When we allowed them, when you first heard of a drone, you probably were like, whoa. Then you kept seeing the drone and you're like, well, it might be kind of cool for me to film my backyard or maybe I could fly it up. And, you know, I like to see the beautiful nature around me. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But what the problem is when you start getting sucked into their tech and you start allowing it, you become desensitized to it and to who ultimately wants you to suddenly see drones around you and not be upset that there's drones around you, right? It's like when I talk about when people with their phones. 30 years ago, if you went around filming someone with a camcorder at a grocery store or something like that, you get in trouble. Somebody might call the police and be like, look, I don't want to be on film. This guy's filming me, blah, blah, blah. Now people are walking around with their cell phones in this surveillance state, filming themselves, filming each other, walking around the mall, filming stuff. And even if you don't want to be on camera, even if it's not a dangerous threat to you, people are just like, what's the big deal? They were just filming it for their blog. Who cares? Nobody cares if you're on their video. No one's looking for you. It's about the removal of privacy. That's what technology is doing. And people are literally creating the surveillance state for the government. So when they say stuff like, oh, you know, these guys are conspiracy nuts, and then suddenly a drone is delivering your food, and the drone, like the Amazon drones, right, are delivering packages. Eventually, I've covered this for years now. UPS, FedEx, they're all shipping with drones now. They're all shifting over from humans delivering stuff. And that's part of the reason they've shown you so many stories about problems with deliveries and porch pirates. This is all leading towards drone delivery, safety delivery, no harm delivery. And people don't realize they're being duped into thinking it's such a dangerous world that they want to stay inside their homes. They're doing this deliberately so you stay imprisoned in your home. Again, ultimately, if you think about this, their goal has been, they want all of us to be prisoners, right? But there's way too many of us, okay? And if they went and tried to arrest everybody, they wouldn't have anywhere to put everybody. There's not enough jail cells. Do you drive around all day seeing prisons popping up everywhere? No. So ultimately, their idea and their concept was to turn your home into the prison and then create all these psyops around you that make you lock yourself in your home, make you afraid to leave your home, make you afraid of a virus that's out there. Then tell you that, well, there's this carbon emission thing, so you're going to have to stay home longer. Oh, and you have to turn your air off and your heat off. Oh, and you can't have a stove anymore. Everything has to be electric so that we can control it and turn it on and off. And people think it's a crazy conspiracy. I'm telling you, if you heard a true crime and there was some abusive husband and this is what he was doing to his wife, people would be like, whoa, that guy's sick. Right? And they'd be like, that's kind of one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. Why is it so far out of the realm of possibility to think that these psychopaths who have shown us nothing more than being as anyone sees Bill Gates, no matter what your political affiliation is, how in the world do you not see a psychopath? You can look in his eyes and you see a psychopath. You look at Jeff Bezos' eyes, you see a psychopath. You look at Elon Musk, you see psychopaths, okay? Corporations who are enslaving humans. And everybody who has the slightest inkling knows that this is happening, but they don't want to believe that it's happening. How many people have you talked to who are like, I miss the days of going to the store. I hate shopping online. Lots of people, right? But then when they go, oh, well, there's a virus out there, they go, I'm so thankful that I can shop online. I'm so thankful I don't have to go out. I can get my groceries delivered to my door now. The grocery store brings it. Do you see where it's headed? And then, of course, to keep you under surveillance, these drones are going to be running amok. So the couple you saw, right, they'll tell you a story. Ooh, they had a drone through their window. Get used to it. Get used to it. Okay? Because these drones that it might have a logo on it that says, oh, well, it's just the Uber drone. Oh, it's just the Amazon drone. It's not a government drone. The corporations are what's running this machine. They're the ones funding it and enabling it. That's why they're making everything so quote unquote convenient to you. It's not convenience. You think it's convenience. They're literally turning you into a prisoner. And you might look at it now and be like, well, I like the benefits. I'm still going to order my Uber Eats today. I'm still going to order this. I'm still going to get my Amazon delivery because I don't want to drive to the store. And it's safer for me to do that because people are driving crazy and everybody's losing their mind, right? And this is all psychologically how it works to get you to comply with this. Then suddenly you see drones peeking through your window and you go, well, it's just the Uber drone. It's not the government drone. It's the Uber drone. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. They slap a logo on it and they'll tell you that the Domino delivery guy's just looking through the window to make sure that you're eating your pizza and enjoying your pizza. We are literally turning ourselves into prisoners for this surveillance state. And then when you see videos like I showed you of insurance companies spying on people, denying them coverage, etc., that should ring a bell as to what this entire thing is. This entire American corporation. So what we're headed towards is what you saw in that first clip. What we're headed towards is what you saw in that second clip. We're headed towards drones running amok around us. And the more you start seeing them, the more desensitized you become. That's what our reality has turned into with the chemtrails and the 5G towers. The first time you saw one, you probably were like, whoa, what's that tower? Now I bet you don't even notice that there's one there's one every couple hundred yards, one every mile on your highway. They're everywhere now. They're everywhere. And we all know when they put them all up, when everybody was sick, of course. So nobody would see how many of these things were going up in the middle of the night. And they're everywhere, right? I talk often about when you look at the power grid and you look at the, power lines, right? Nobody notices those things anymore. But if you took somebody from 100 years ago and popped them into today's world, their brain would explode if they saw these giant power grids, power lines, right? We become so desensitized to it. Now when we look up, right, we're used to it. Other people out there don't even notice that they were getting chemmed on from the skies. And then it'll be the same thing with the drones. They'll start unleashing more and more, little by little, and it'll become an everyday normal thing because there'll be stories out there about, well, it's for your convenience because it's quicker, it's safer. Oh, Amazon drivers are getting attacked. There's too many car accidents, etc. What do you need to leave your home for? There's a high risk of getting a disease, blah, blah, blah. And time goes by because time is really their friend. Because the longer this technology is out there and nobody pushes back, the more desensitized you get to it, the more accepting you are of it. And then they could just throw you excuse after excuse after excuse, like the insurance company. And you, instead of going, whoa, this is illegal, they have no right to do that. They have no right to fly over someone's home. That's what people should be saying. But instead, time has gone by, and that's become the new norm. The government's spying on you, the government peeking through your windows, because time is their friend. And time is all that it takes to desensitize people. And that's how we've gotten to the point we were at when the cell phone first came out, let's say in the year 2000, around that time period, to where we are now, where, again, you can't leave your home without your phone, you'll malfunction, right? People are on the internet around the clock. When the internet first came out in the 90s, it was like, oh, this guy's on the internet, he's a dork. Oh, this guy, okay. Then as time has gone, it's become, people become more dependent on it for everything. And that's been by design. So then the younger generation, they grow up and they push it onto their kids. Their kids don't know anything other than living on the internet and doing everything online and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we get closer with that reality to the mark of the beast. Because the more people are dependent on the technology and dependent on the internet, they can get their digital ID and their biometric data on you and keep you in a surveillance prison. And that's what we're headed towards. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.